Think about the last time you had to travel somewhere far away. You probably packed a heavy suitcase, stressed over a delayed flight, sat in hours of mind-numbing traffic, and checked your GPS 12 different times. You were exhausted before you even arrived. Your modern brain associates travel with anxiety, schedules, and unnatural speed. But 100,000 years ago, your ancestors didn't have airplanes, cars, or even the concept of a map. Yet they accomplished something that seems completely impossible to your modern mind. They walked out of Africa, crossed scorching deserts, survived brutal ice ages, and populated every single corner of the globe. They didn't just survive the journey. They conquered the earth on foot. How did they do it? How did early humans travel thousands of miles across undocumented wilderness without getting hopelessly lost or immediately killed? To understand this, you have to realize that your ancestors did not experience the world the way you do today. Modern humans exist in a state of sensory isolation. We move through the world in metal boxes, staring at glass screens, completely disconnected from the environment around us. Ancient humans, however, were biologically synchronized with the earth. Their survival depended on a constant, unbroken stream of sensory data. According to anthropological research, early humans were master trackers and environmental readers. They didn't need a GPS because the entire landscape was their map. They read the direction of the wind to predict weather changes days in advance. They watched the migration patterns of birds to find hidden sources of water. They didn't just walk blindly. They moved with a deep ancestral memory of the terrain. Tribes passed down massive mental maps through complex storytelling and songs. These songlines were auditory maps that described the physical geography of the land. If you memorized the song, you knew exactly where the next watering hole was, where the dangerous predators hunted, and where to find shelter, even if you had never been there before. But their journeys were not always safe. In fact, they were terrifyingly dangerous. They were constantly hunted by megafauna, creatures like saber-toothed cats, dire wolves, and massive cave bears. When a tribe migrated, they couldn't just walk casually. They moved in strategic formations. The strongest members walked on the perimeter, armed with spears, constantly scanning the horizon. The vulnerable, the young, the sick, and the elderly were protected in the center. Every single step they took was a calculated risk. A twisted ankle or a broken bone wasn't just an inconvenience, it was a potential death sentence for the individual and a burden that slowed down the entire tribe. Yet, they kept moving. Why? Why didn't they just stay in one safe place? The answer is written into your DNA. It's a primal instinct that you still feel today, the desperate, burning need for resources, and the insatiable human curiosity to see what lies beyond the horizon. When the climate shifted, when the lakes dried up, or when the local game was hunted to depletion, staying meant starving. Migration was not a choice. It was the only way to survive. One of the most mind-bending journeys in human history occurred during the last ice age, around 20,000 years ago. Sea levels dropped drastically, exposing a massive land bridge connecting modern-day Russia to North America. This was Beringia. Your ancestors stood on the edge of this frozen, unforgiving wasteland. The temperatures were brutally cold, dropping to minus 50 degrees. There were no trees for firewood. And yet, they crossed it. Generation after generation pushed forward into the freezing unknown. They survived by hunting massive woolly mammoths, using their bones to build shelters and their thick furs to survive the deadly cold. They didn't conquer the ice by fighting it. They adapted to it. They became apex predators in an environment that was actively trying to kill them. But humans didn't just walk. They also conquered the oceans. Long before the invention of the compass or the modern sail, early humans built simple rafts out of bamboo and reeds. They navigated the open sea using the stars, the ocean currents, and the subtle changes in the color of the water. They sailed into the absolute unknown, eventually reaching Australia over 50,000 years ago. When you fly, you are launched thousands of feet into the air in a pressurized metal tube, complaining that the Wi-Fi is too slow, while entirely ignoring the miracle of human flight. We have traded the raw, visceral experience of the world for comfort and speed. We no longer navigate. We are simply transported. Your ancient brain is wired for exploration. It craves the challenge of the landscape, the physical exertion of the journey, and the intense connection to the environment. When you feel restless, when you feel that sudden, inexplicable urge to just drop everything and go somewhere new, that isn't just modern burnout. That is your ancestral biology whispering to you. It is the echo of the nomads who walked across ice bridges and sailed across oceans. It is the primal memory of a time when the entire earth was your home, and the horizon was never a boundary, but a calling. But you have stopped moving.